Welcome. Finally, the moment has arrived. I have got the privilege of introducing a juggernaut to the next episode of Real Talk. His name is Sean Brown. This gentleman right here, I've watched him go from, I'd say, insignificant beginnings to some absolute market dominance, to some absolute independent enterprises, which hopefully we're going to get to talk about today. I know I'm not going to do you justice, so why don't you introduce yourself, brother, and tell the people a little bit about who you are, what you do, and where you're at.
For sure, man. Well, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
It's always a pleasure to spend some time with the king himself. I guess I'm Sean. I've been involved with like startups for quite a while now. I started from when I was about 19, which I kind of didn't want to go down the university route. Didn't want to kind of follow the norm. Mm-hmm. So when I was 18, went off travelling and I became a dive instructor, of all things to become.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh no, I knew you were PADI qualified.
Yeah, PADI instructor, and I worked on some dive boats.
Where?
In Australia.
Yeah.
To start with. So while I was over there, I was quite interested in tech still. So I taught myself to write PHP, and then more front end type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I built a social network. I saw what Facebook was doing in 2008. They were just taking off. I was like, oh, that's never going to last. It's going to have niche communities, which is now Facebook groups. But, so I built Social Scuba, which was a social network for scuba divers. And then,
news to me?
Yeah.
Shit.
When I was 19, and I sold it to PADI.
Okay.
Which is now Scuba Earth. And so that was like my first kind of build and exit, I guess. It was a shoddy piece of code. It was kind
good
of
enough. Let's say
it was good enough to get users, and that's what PADI wanted at the time.
You don't want to get yourself into any deep water.
No. That's exactly. I was left without a life ring for sure.
Okay, what happened after that? All right, so you hit Oz, you did some travelling, you saw something in terms of community building. What next? What happened after that?
So carried on the dive instructing game, but got onto the big super yachts, and then ended up travelling the world with some billionaires.
In super yachts?
On their private yachts, people ranging from, well, I worked with 5 of Forbes top 50, travel around the world with them, being their private instructor for the family. But while being around these...
Still diving related?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how you got on there?
Yeah, so it was being around these, and they were billionaires, like the richest guy I worked for was worth Andrei Malnichenko. He owns Eurochem, he's worth about 16 billion. And so I was his right hand man in the water.
Light work.
And so I learned a lot from him. He taught me about, like, if you're gonna look at a market, if you want to start a business, look at something that is limitless. Mm-hmm. Don't rely on other platforms, don't rely on using other people to get you there. You rely on you. That's why he was in chemical engineering and like fertilizers and things like that. So, so it gave me an idea. I thought, I'm not going to be a billionaire working for billionaires. So it's time to quit the yacht life and
hashtag yacht life.
And certainly, so I moved to London and thought, right, I'm going to settle down and then get to work.
Yeah. Doing what?
Well, so my first role was head of digital at a media company because I needed that money, while you're trying to build something. Mm-hmm. And it was while working there that I.
This is in London, right?
This is in London, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
This is when we first met.
Okay, right? So quick pause, interjection. How do I have the privilege and honour of knowing this gentleman here? When I was in London, in my first, I think it was my first month of my 3 months working as a recruitment consultant, your partner knew my partner. We ended up living 10 minutes away from each other in a slum. Actually, you had a bit of a nicer area in the slum. Still the slum.
£900 for nothing.
And we managed to connect. I think it was at your place, and that's how we got introduced. Immediately, that maybe you've got some people in your life, and obviously it happens for us all the time, but when you speak to someone on the first instance, you immediately connect if you're on the same wavelength and you've got that frequency. And immediately with this guy, I was like, holy shit, this guy's sharp. He knows his stuff. What have you been up to? I've been in Australia, I've been doing this, I've been on yachts, I've been doing this. I'm like, holy shit, what are you doing in the hood?
Actually,
and that's how you got started. So then, yeah, take it away. I mean, what happened after that? So you're head of digital at a company in London.
So it was while working for them that I was like, right, it's time to get started on something. I was really interested in social and like working out with influencers. So I built a concept called Hatch Social, which was an influencer marketing platform. They're 10 to a penny now, but I'm talking 4 years ago. When influencer marketing was just kind of like starting to peak, and I built this for micro influencers. And
just like the main one now would be Tribe.
Tribe, yeah, okay. So it's exactly what I think it's Julian from Tribe. So we were kind of first to market in that kind of game. Then
wait, let's not float over Hatch, because I think Hatch is really the thing that allowed you to go on to the next place that you to. So right, influencer marketing. Talk to me about the influencer landscape right now before we head forwards with more recent stuff. So what does it look like right now?
Well, so I think influencer marketing now is at a point where it's matured so much that it's as valuable as social marketing. It's as valuable as traditional marketing. It's now a pillar of marketing that every brand, every consultant, every anyone that works in marketing has to consider.
100%.
So where you see it with Nike and Adidas, they use athletes to wear their apparel. So that's exactly what influencer marketing is. But we're now talking to the new generation of people who consume media. So I think influencer marketing, if you haven't got an influencer marketing strategy, that's as important as your social strategy, as important as your PR strategy, your traditional, then what's the point in doing anything else? Because unless you've got, why are influencers good? Is a question that I
talk to me about the psychology. Why are people following influencers? Why do we want to buy when we see whoever wearing or using something?
So if I say to you Apple, who do you think of?
The doctor. I'm only joking. Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. If I say to you SpaceX, Elon Musk. So if I'm talking about Microsoft, it's Bill Gates. So why do we associate ourselves with the leader of that company? It's because it's hard, as us as people who are consumers, to identify ourselves directly with a brand. We as people naturally connect socially with other people, not with brands, not with corporations. So when you've got someone, an actual individual person, representing themselves, representing a brand, you're going to connect with that person, and then you're going to connect with the things that they like, the things that they are advocates for, ambassadors or whatever.
And even their beliefs. So
exactly.
the things that they're saying and emitting into the world.
100%.
So it ties into the personal branding, right? And how that's evolved. And even when Apple and all these companies were growing, even though they weren't at the forefront, they were still driving it. And then as obviously things have grown to enormous lengths, their profiles have emerged because they're the ones who pushed it forwards, right? So how important is a personal brand? Look, if there's an influencer watching this right now, or somebody who wants to become an influencer, how do they go about becoming somebody who can actually lead people towards transactions? And these aren't just financial, but transactions that brands want.
So
and obviously make some money.
Exactly. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Would you agree there's I'll say there's a fair amount of poverty amongst the influencer community as a whole?
I think there's
if you can donate to this number for influencers who are struggling to get that next plate.
But buy that next 10k followers.
From social agenda.
So no, I think the importance of a personal brand is, I'll say this probably a few times over this, you've got to start with the why. And I do this when I'm developing a product, or whether I'm helping someone with a social campaign or anything like that, is start with the why. Why are you trying to do it? So of course, money is a constant thread that comes through it, but why would I, as the founder and CEO of Mercarto, want to build a brand, a personal brand? Well, because I want to put my name out there to people that might not necessarily meet Mccarter, my company. They'll meet me first, and then they'll be directed to it.
Exactly.
So that's as a brand leader, or as a business leader, building a personal brand is completely necessary, because you need people to identify with you to then identify with your brand.
100%.
Now, if you're building a personal brand because you're interested in lifestyle, you're interested in fashion or anything around like that, or sport or things like that, then it's really important too, because if you want to be seen as a leader or figurehead,
authority,
an authority, a voice, an evangelist, an ambassador for any subject, for any belief, then you want to try and develop a bigger following, as a bigger network as possible, that really engage, not just follow you, but really engage with what you're talking about, and want to take your message further and then amplify that.
Redistribute your message.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously your mouth is, our mouths are big when we want to talk. But imagine we've got 1,000, 10,000, 1 million people saying everything that's coming from my mouth. How loud is that message going to be?
So how influential is it also coming from another person?
Oh yeah, so it's having that secondary kind of I'm trying to think of the word.
Persuasion and influence.
Yeah. Well, it's like having that advocate, like that external advocate. I'm saying this, but this is why review sites, Trustpilot. This is why TripAdvisor is so big, because people are looking for external reviews, external advocacy. Exactly. So when you've got other people talking about your brand, your message, then that just like it puts this massive level of advocacy and validation of what you're trying to get across.
Okay, cool. You touched on the latest venture that you're involved with there. But before we go to that, okay, so we're talking about influencer marketing, Hatch. What happened with Hatch?
So I was in Google's...
you don't stick around... actually, I'll let you tell the next bit. But I was going to say, you don't stick around long. You're good at exiting.
Yeah, I move.
You evolve.
Exactly. But so I was in Google's incubator in London, around Silicon Roundabout, and we got to the point where we were like trying to raise some funding. We had a couple of
don't read my notes. They're gonna throw you off.
Couple of term sheets available for us, but I was too busy not thinking about funding, but thinking about business. So I was on the road speaking to every influencer or social agency like in the country, and I was up and down on the trains everywhere, trying to say, look, use our platform for your clients. That was my way in. It's like rather than go straight to a client and then they amplify, I'd rather go to someone, an agency, to sell it for me.
Sure.
So I got in touch with a company, you may have heard of them, Social Chain.
Social Chain? So who?
Social Chain.
Social Chain. I think many people have heard of the big chain.
Exactly.
The big chain game.
Yeah, that's it. They're huge now. They're taking over the world in what social is, especially in content production.
Yeah.
And probably not as fiery as this content that you're producing.
No, I'm saying, can't be plugging the competition too
Link in
hard.
bio. So
Social Chain, you came across them, you were trying to say, look guys, got an amazing product here, amazing service through Hatch that you can distribute for me, and all of your clients are going to benefit.
Exactly.
And then that opened up an introduction.
Well, that was the pitch of what the product was.
Yes.
And I was there as the founder of this product, saying, use my product.
Yeah.
And halfway through, the co-founder said, stop you there, would you sell it to us?
Would you sell it to us?
And would you then come and develop technologies like that within Social Chain Group?
Wow.
I said no, absolutely not. With a swear word thrown in that as well. Jumped on the train. I was like a bit confused, saying like he loved it, but he didn't say he's going to give me any clients. So then I worked away, and a month later got an email from Social Chain saying, look, the CEO wants to come and meet me and have a formal conversation about it.
The CEO being none other than
Steve Bartlett,
Steve
king
Bartlett.
of personal brand. Right?
Shout out Steve Bartlett. Crushing it. Love it.
Good friend and quite a great mentor as well over the last couple of years. So Steve and Dom collectively persuaded me to kind of let so that Hatch be absorbed into the Social Chain Group, and then kind of there was a deal that was set up around that.
Okay.
Then
did you get what you wanted out of that deal?
Ultimately, yeah. Ultimately, yeah.
How did you measure up that opportunity? I mean, here you have a product that you've taken from your mind, developed it, built it, pitching it, so you're trying to sell it, so you really believe in this. And now we're talking about, dissolving this into a much bigger structure, and essentially giving away your baby.
Well, yeah.
To make more babies?
Yeah, exactly. But you say believing in this.
Yeah.
And it was at this point where I didn't believe in it.
Oh shit.
Because Hatch relied on Twitter.
Timing is
relied
everything.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
And if they shut down the API access, they shut down like the which they throttle the reach that these influencers can get.
Organic.
Exactly, we're dead in the water. And I foresaw this, and when, like, thinking back to my conversations with the billionaire owner of Eurochem, where he's saying, try something that doesn't rely on a platform, take over the world. I remember that and thought, okay, well, I'm going to build my own platform one day. This is not it. So the opportunities come at the right time when my belief of what I was building, my why, started to drop off.
Yeah.
So anyway, I moved up to Manchester to go to the head office of Social Chain. When they were around about 30 employees, and now at like 200 now, 230. So it's in the early stages, and I went in and took the head of talent and then became head of product there, which was developing new products for the company.
What did you learn from that whole social service? He's not with the chain anymore.
No.
He's in a different game, but what did you learn from, you said Steve was a great mentor to you. What are some of the attributes that you saw working so closely with Steve? And Dom, obviously the one who is a bit quieter on the socials.
Yeah.
What were the main, give me the top 3 things that you took away from that experience?
My biggest thing that I learned from Social Chain collectively, and there's some great people there that I got to work with, but my main thing is how to work with people. And I saw it from, it was 30, but it felt like 2 or 3 people there. So from the very early beginnings, like in the first year of trading, and I learned how to build a team properly, dealing with different personalities, different goals, different mindsets of people, and how to collectively motivate these type of people to one end goal. And
how do you do that? Let's dig a bit deeper into that. I mean, if you've got somebody who's not motivated by entrepreneurship per se, they're an employee, right? Obviously, in that circumstance, you're an employee as well to a degree. But you have an entrepreneurial mindset, which is why they wanted you running things in your own way. How do you motivate somebody who's not interested in financial gain or interested in even, having ownership of something, perhaps?
So I try and take away all the kind of restrictions that work traditionally applies. So straight away, 9 to 5 is not a thing in my life. There's no 9 to 5 work. Any employee, especially currently for Mccarter, there's no 9 to 5. You don't have to be in at this time. You don't have to be gone at this time.
Wicked.
So it's open season, right? So you come into the office, not to work. You come into the office whenever you want. The only thing, you want holidays, go on holiday.
So you're giving pure independence, pure freedom.
Yeah, no, there's no shackles.
Okay.
This doesn't work for everyone. If you've got if you've got a warehouse,
Tom walks out
who's recording? So more the creative industry.
So it's about finding the right people, and then you can involve them in this new format of work that obviously is evolving and gaining a lot of popularity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and then so when you take away what work is, I have to be in at this time and leave at that time. You take away the traditional contract of you can't work on your own business on the side. You've got to work for me. We'll get to Mccarter, but this is a platform for entrepreneurs. And why would I want to hire someone when they're not entrepreneurial, when the platform, the product is for entrepreneurs? 100%. So
I've faced this problem. Myself.
Exactly.
And I've told, you've been there every step of the way. So the great thing about Sean's story and mine, how it's intertwined, is obviously we've been able to work on some projects together, and really you've served as an advisor for social agendas and for a lot of our
likewise,
yeah. So it's been a great journey, and I've obviously gone through all of these mistakes and triumphs with you there and you watching from afar. And I agree, I struggled massively with my first hires because I didn't know how to manage them, and I wasn't in an environment where obviously you have people like Steve or other managers where you could emulate their successes. So for me and their experience, it was a bit brutal, you know what I mean? Because of the performance, and that was what I struggled with. How do I motivate you to be of a boss mindset, an entrepreneurial mindset, when the reality is you're an employee? And that's what really coined the phrase for me, is with the consultants who I train and work with now. A boss can't have a boss. It's just the way that I look at it. I only work with people now. Nobody works for me. And I don't want to work for somebody, I work with them. That's clients and consultants.
Yeah.
And to hear that you've obviously seen that and introduced that into what you're doing now is very interesting, so carry on.
Yeah, so the only thing that I expect of employees is output. I only, like, holidays, do what you want. Obviously, we've got the contract holidays. If you want to take a day off, take a day off. If you want to do a day, fine. If you want to watch Game of Thrones until 2 o'clock in the morning, have a lie-in, it's fine. But you've got to deliver output.
And I suppose that brings a lot more honesty to
it
the
does,
environment.
And what it does is, if I say, I want this output from you, that's all you're measured on, and they don't deliver that, there's a problem.
All right.
And if and it's a reasonable level of output in varied roles, but if someone isn't giving you or giving the company what the company deserves and what the company is owed, then they're not the right people. So what this does is measuring people based on output only. It helps me see that you qualify them. Are these the right people for the company?
Because it's still a performance culture. As flexible as that sounds, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a few flipping job inquiries after this, here and that. Turn up when you want, have a holiday, watch Game of Thrones, chill, just output. That sounds very, very comfortable. But then at the same time, how do you balance that with that performance mindset and culture?
Exactly. So you've got to deliver, and I don't want you to deliver because it's your job. I want you to deliver because you love it. And if you don't love it, then you're not that person for the role. So we've got, for example, right now we've got a content guy. He's going to be moving into head of brand role soon. But
before we get to that, you still have not introduced the main Donna enterprise that you're at right now. So Social Chain, let's move forward from there. So what did the end of Social Chain look like? How long were you there?
It was a privilege working at Social Chain. I got to work with some of the biggest brands in the world, like FIFA, Apple, Superdry. I was leading a lot of pitches for that. I was building a lot of strategies for these huge global companies for social media. So it was then I started getting that desire of, I want to build something for myself. I want to build something for others. I want to change the world in my own way. And as cheesy as it sounds, you've got to have that kind of why.
Cheesy on this channel, brother. That sounds cheesy to you. You're on the wrong motherfucking show. Go on.
And my current task at Social Chain was to build e-commerce stores. For their channels. So they had huge networks like Sport for student problems, where they had millions of followers.
Game changer.
And how do we make money out of them? But then I was thinking, how do I scale this? I don't want to build stores in Shopify. And the biggest problem is, where do I source products from? How do I try and find these products to start a store? And it was a slog. Meeting multiple suppliers around the country, and then you've got to pay that. So I've got to go into the investment fund of what Social Chain have done, of like suppliers.
So this is a slog whilst you're at Social Chain,
and
trying to piece it all together, and it's not working, and you're finding that you're facing the tension head on because you're responsible for it as head of product, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I thought, if there's a platform out there that could aggregate dropship products, so bring together thousands and like tens of thousands of products into one place where people can just drag them into their store, launch their store with minimal code, no code, just like functional design, and launch like in less than 5 minutes. So you can source 100 products without paying up front for those products, without paying a subscription for the platform.
Without having to research those
Without having to research, it's all there for you. You name them whatever you want, you put the same, whatever price you want, and then you go in, all you have to do is market them. When you get an order, the platform processes all the orders for you, deals with customer service, deals with all the returns, everything. And so that was my vision for this platform, and here we are a year and 2 months later.
Given to the birth of
Mccarter. So
how do you spell Mccarter?
Mercarto.
M-E-R.
C-A-R-T-O.
Okay.
So where it comes from, the etymology of the word is Mercator is merchant in Latin.
Okay.
So if you want to be a merchant, and you're a Mercator.
Nice.
So I took the R off the end.
Yeah.
I stuck it in the middle to be cart, like shopping cart.
Yeah.
So Mercarto.co is where we exist, and it's a dropship aggregation platform, but also an e-commerce platform. So you can build your own store and pull all your products in together. And I'm
so happy I'm getting this interview when I am, because in the next 12 months, ladies and gentlemen, this guy ain't going to be answering my calls. That's for damn sure.
You're going to be my boss.
Yeah.
So but the beauty is as well, if you create your own products. So let's say you create your own watches.
Yeah.
You put your own watches into your store, fine. But then you can press one button and your store is amplified to the network, and thousands and 10,000s of stores can then add your product to their store, which means you just amplified your product to millions and millions of people.
Essentially what we're talking about is the traditional shop owner in, the 2 decades ago, who buys a shop unit, he has to go out and find all these products, right? He has to go and make sure that there's a market for these products, his customers want these products, right? So he's risking it on that. He has to deal with all the customer complaints. If something goes wrong, the risk of holding all that stock in his shop. So now he's got insurance costs.
The cost of the platform as well.
So Mccarter
is free as well.
So nobody actually holds stock.
No one holds stocks. We aggregate all the stock from our partnered suppliers.
Okay.
And our partnered suppliers do range from AliExpress, which helps us have a gateway to brands like Nike, like Adidas. And that's just the...
so that was the idea. So you had the idea, right? You're like, well, problem, solution, and there's a market. So look, I can get a store. I don't know anything about marketing. I don't know anything about, sourcing products. But now all of a sudden, within 5 minutes, I can have a store fully equipped and taking transactions within 3 to 5 minutes.
Yes, yeah.
Even less.
Even less if you quit.
If I'm really on it, right?
Yeah. But it's beautiful design, so you want to spend time.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You're allowing for innovation, which makes it very exciting. When I look at it, and obviously I have seen all the different versions that you've come up with, over the last year and a half. But it's fucking unbelievable, and I'm so excited for you with it. Even more excited to contribute to it. So, what happened after Mercarto? You've built this platform. You've got the idea. Is it the same? It sounds like there might be some parallels with Hatch. So what did you do next? Because you're still at Social Chain right now, building this.
I built the MVP myself.
Yeah.
And then when the MVP...
What's the MVP for people?
So minimum viable product. So if you've got an idea out there, go to a pen and paper, draw what it looks like, and these are your wireframes. Then take your wireframes, go into something like Adobe Illustrator or even PowerPoint and draw boxes of how the layout will be.
Okay.
And then take that layout and then go to a designer and say, I want it designed like this.
Yes.
And then you take it from the designer, or if you've got the skills or you want to learn the skills, design it yourself. Then once you've designed it, then you either teach yourself...
Slow down, baby, slow down! Hold on, so we've got the MVP, the minimal viable product.
And
so
to build the MVP, you've got to start with the wireframes.
Okay, so you start with the wireframes, right?
Yeah.
Once you've got your wireframes, you put them in the software, you get your designs.
Yeah.
Right, so you build your first designs. Now, these aren't the designs you're going live with.
They could be if you're good enough.
You're trying to
get close. Our design on our platform now is a million miles away from what these.
And then, where do you take them next? Do you take them to a developer or an actual designer?
No, a developer. So I started writing the code base myself. But I wanted to scale a bit quicker, so I went on to something like Upwork or Fiverr.com, and I sourced developers out in India.
Okay.
So
shout out India.
Yeah. These guys, what would have cost me about 30 grand to build in the UK, it cost me about 4 grand to build out in India.
And did you source this? Did you pay this yourself?
Yeah.
So this is all bootstrap,
all bootstrap. This is all me.
All right. So then, when we get to the web developer, what next?
So then, I put it out there to test. So I send it to friends, put it on Reddit, like the entrepreneur community, or say, look, guys, will you just test this for me?
Yeah.
And then we develop a few stores.
When you're afraid that somebody might nick that idea?
Yeah, someone stole the Hatch idea. Hatch started as Trender, and I was pitching a pitching competition. It was called Trender. It was how to get your business to trend very quickly on Twitter by getting a collective of thousands of people to tweet about your company.
Yeah.
I pitched it, I went home, and someone registered the Trender without the E in Shoreditch, and I was living in East London.
Oh my God.
And he literally went home, and the next day it was developed. He wrote it like completely himself.
Wow,
so,
legend.
yeah, congratulations.
No, it is.
It's fine. But
Yeah, don't worry, it's fine.
yeah,
Too negative for this. Too negative for this. Right, so you tested it.
I'm not scared about that because he hasn't got this vision. He's got.
He can't innovate the next idea.
Exactly, it's fine.
No fear involved.
So by the time someone wants to kind of copy the idea, I'm already miles ahead.
Yeah.
It's fine. Someone can copy Coke, and they did Virgin Cola, and they got pushed out of the market by the OGs.
Yeah.
So that's what
I hear you. All right. So then your friends have tested it.
Yeah.
Now when things get interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know how many details. Obviously, I know the whole scope, but you're at this point now where things are looking good. People are saying this is amazing. It works. Where next? What happened next?
So I had the fortunate opportunity of meeting Lawrence Jones.
Okay, so who's Lawrence Jones?
Lawrence Jones is the CEO of UK Fast.
Oh, yes, he is.
And UK Fast is...
Is that Lawrence Jones MBE?
Oh, Lawrence Jones MBE for Services to Digital.
Services to Digital.
For the United Kingdom.
Contribution.
So, this guy is, along with being a good friend now,
of course,
and a mentor, but this guy is probably one of the pioneers of the internet in the UK.
100%.
Probably one of the biggest influences on digital that you may or may not have ever heard of.
Oh no, it's major scale digital though. We're not talking about fix your website up. This is like
he is
back end of the back end of the back end.
So UK Fast is a server, a hosting company, but it's one of the biggest in the UK. So a lot of the internet and like people that you wouldn't think of it, but a lot of the internet runs from his hosting and his data centers in the UK. They're huge. So the privilege of meeting Lawrence was one. But then for Lawrence to take an interest into me building an e-commerce platform was the thing that really changed the fortunes of what Mercarto will be ultimately.
Okay. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to Lawrence Jones. I've met him, I've pitched him, and I was just blown away. And that's through Sean. Sean made the introduction, and it was a privilege to when you speak to somebody like Lawrence Jones. You know what? I'm getting Lawrence Jones in this seat next. Make that happen, right?
I'll give him a shout.
But when you pitch somebody, and it's not even pitching isn't pitching in that environment, but you have a conversation, and you're absorbing just the mannerisms and how he evaluates what you're saying, and how the quality of questions that an individual asks you, right? It blew me away, and I was absolutely buzzing after that first interaction with him, and to see your bond with him get closer and closer. It's bringing a level of maturity. Would you say it's bringing a level of maturity to your business game?
It's rubbing off on me so much. I just said to you that last night was the first kind of meeting I've had with him for a while, because I've been really going through like the updates to the platform, but it was meant to be a 10-minute meeting. It was 2.5 hours later. It's 8 o'clock. In the evening. I'm sat in his office, and he's on the back cave. He's on a whiteboard showing me his secrets of negotiation and a diagram of like how negotiation should be, how's
process,
and he backed it up by stories where this process has worked.
Okay, so what did Lawrence do? So you met Lawrence. Obviously under whatever circumstances, then he took an interest. Obviously you must have said, look, I'm working on XYZ. What happens next?
So
what we're talking about here is, I'll let you hit the headline in a minute, but what we're talking about is attracting an individual who can help facilitate your goals and dreams.
I'll touch on what I think he bought into.
What you sold him on.
So he invited me around to his house, and I think the only thing that I can to pitch him. So it was very apparent that he wanted to be involved with the business, but I'd say that investors, business partners, employees, anyone who's connected to your vision, they buy into you. They don't buy into the package. They don't buy into just the money. If you just wanted to make money, there's lots of other places where you can make
very quick money.
But people buy into people, which is again why influence is important.
Personal brand.
Exactly. And I feel that my relationship was struck up very quickly with Lawrence. We share the same views on a lot of things. Things we don't share the same views on, we're willing to hash out in a
sensible.
A very sensible, maybe heated, maybe a passionate exchange of where our views come from.
Of course.
And because they're articulately put across and confidently put across, he's one of the most confident men you'll meet. It just works.
Well, the greatest mentors aren't the ones who just say, yeah, well done, well done, well done. They're the guys or the girls who challenge you and challenge your views. And what happens when you get challenged? You either get more clarity on what it is that you thought was an original idea, or you find a better way of doing what you thought you could do a certain way.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what that relationship looks like with you and Lawrence?
Definitely, absolutely. It's
does he always get his way?
No way. His way is my way.
Our way.
It's our way. Yeah, exactly. It's.
So what's that relationship look like? So you took an interest, you pitched him. What next? What happened?
So I didn't really pitch it because I had other term sheets available for investment, traditional investment. So it was like an angel investor wanted to put money in exchange for equity in the business.
Okay.
But it was very apparent that I didn't want investment from Lawrence.
Yeah.
I wanted a partnership with Lawrence.
Okay. What was so important about not just getting the money, but also getting the experience?
Lawrence isn't money to me, or the business. It's Lawrence, and I don't think anyone should really go into someone when they build a relationship with someone like I have with Lawrence, thinking this is money. This is going to help me succeed. Yeah. I saw the full package. He can offer me mentorship. He can offer me education. He's got a massive business that can offer me resources.
He's got multiple businesses, not just
multiple.
He's got a headline. He's got 10 plus enterprises.
Yeah,
crazy things
for sure. And he's taught all the resources that I can plug into. Yeah. The workspace. There's a bigger package here that isn't just money. And I thought, this is a business partner.
Why was mentorship so important to you? Because look, I'm a big advocate for mentorship. You know this. How much of an impact has mentorship from Lawrence Jones had on your way of thinking, and how positive has it made your vision and how much clearer?
I think the biggest value of mentorships is perspective.
Well, it's brilliant because you've gone from billionaires on yachts who you're getting a bit of information here and there when you're saving them from drowning. You're going then from that to obviously Hatch, starting out small, building your thing up and pitching that, then to the mentorship of Steve and Social Chain and everybody who's involved with that organisation, then to the mentorship of Lawrence Jones. It's no real coincidence, is it, that if you're on your own, in the very beginning, if you're on your own, how much longer would it have taken you, or how much more stressful would it have been to get to this point?
Well, I think it would be years of R&D, of research and development. We wouldn't be able to get where we were without a partnership or mentorship. Yeah. And I'm a big advocate for mentorship myself. I mentor another company, a 3D printing company, who had just taken off, based in Manchester, called 3 Dicey. Yeah. You should actually interview this guy. The CEO, Alex Andreo.
Shout out to Alex. 3D Dicey.
3 Dicey.
3 Dicey.
And and this is through the Tech Manchester program. So I'm on their accelerator program.
Nice.
But also they've asked me to be a mentor for the other mentees that come into the accelerator program. So it's quite an interesting environment to work in. But what I think is important about mentorship is I'm no better than Alex. Lawrence is better than me, but I wouldn't say mentorship is about working with someone that's better than you. I say it's working with someone that's got a different perspective. And when someone comes in and looks at your business, looks at your persona, looks at your output from a different perspective, it's game changing. It really is. If someone says, "Look, have you seen it from this angle?" and you haven't, because you're so busy with your horse blinkers, focused on what you're doing. I don't care how good you are, you're always going to be focused on one thing. Yeah. And having people from the sidelines saying, "Look, have you thought about this or considered this?" Yeah. It's really important.
Cool.
I think.
So then, LJ, he's impressed. He's very interested in the vision. He likes what you can do, and he trusts you. There's obviously a huge element of trust in who you are and what you can do. What next? How does the deal come about? What does the deal look like? You can be as vague as you like.
So, well, he asked me straight, do you want investment?
Yeah.
I says no.
Yeah.
I want you to be my co-founder.
Takes big balls.
Yeah, so, and he says, what does that mean? I says 50-50, let's go.
Which is a big commitment from you as well, which probably showed him like, whoa, hold on a minute.
Yeah, so because I thought it's a very simple scenario in my head, is if I built this with a technical co-founder, or if I built this with you, it would be 50-50 down the middle. Because I'll be expecting your input to be valuable, and I'll be expecting my input to be valuable. All for the company's success. This is no longer about me, this is about Mccarter. And if I see that Mccarter is going to be valuable by this person being involved, then why shouldn't they have equal rights in it all? So obviously there's a few amendments in there, so business as usual type of thing. I wanted to try and claim ownership of that. Because when you give it 50-50, not 49-51, there's no outright kind of
responsibility,
voting kind of rights. So we've got equal voting rights on all actions across the business. Because I know he wants a collective interest in Mercarto.
He knows his shit. He knows his shit.
This isn't an ego game. If I wanted to go into ego games, I would have worked with VC and I would have tried to raise 2-3 million in return for X amount of equity.
And it becomes more about the fundraising. I think this is one of the things that we had a conversation about. The danger of going through funding rounds is that you're constantly pitching for the right investor, and it becomes more about pitching for investment than actually developing something that is going to be game changing. Yeah,
exactly. And and that's why it was so quick to act with Lawrence, and he was so quick to act with Hatch, with Mccarter.
Hatch? He took Hatch as well now?
Well, the IP is there. That's why it's so quick, because it was I don't want to think about finance.
No.
I want to think about the product.
And the user.
And that's what, exactly, and that's what working with Lawrence has enabled us to do. And so,
so what
thank you, Lawrence.
Yeah, shout out Lawrence again, I love the guy. What's next for Mccarter? So is it launched, is it live, can people go on there right now?
So we launched the beta in January. We had around about 450 stores created with it.
Amazing.
Well, it's amazing considering the product was absolutely whack. I wasn't happy with it. The products that were available on the dropship was with one supplier. The way we actually uploaded the products weren't very good, and how we handled the order processing. So we've with a team of 4 of us now, and we're looking to bring on someone else. We really took it back to the drawing board. So what do we want this to be? And we've rebuilt it very, very quickly, but thoroughly. There's been a lot of nights, 20-hour days.
Listen, anyone who's watching this video, it will be live right now. So in somewhere around this video, go and build yourself a store. Try and do it within 3 minutes, and tell me in the comments if you can actually get that done, because that's the goal, right? 3 minutes and you're ready.
3 minutes you can go.
That's what I've seen a tutorial online. So all right, 3 to 5 minutes. Tell us how long
you can do it in 3 minutes.
All right,
for sure. 3 minutes for sure. You'll get a store completely personalised with your own products in there.
All right.
But just if you want to have 100 products in there, it might take you a lot longer to be.
Mccarto aside.
Done.
I love Mccarto.
It's fun.
But I love you more. Right? So I ain't gonna just let people say, oh yeah, Mccarto, I know so much about this guy's business and it all looks great. Entrepreneurship in the modern age for us and our generation. So much going on. People out there taking risks that potentially they shouldn't take. People out there bootstrapping all the way and not taking investment. Some people taking investment when maybe they shouldn't. What does the landscape of entrepreneurship look like right now from your perspective? And are you excited for it? Are you concerned in a way? Give me some of your take.
I'm very excited about entrepreneurship. I'm a massive advocate for entrepreneurship. In fact, that's why I have a massive complex when hiring people. Because I always think in the back of my head, why aren't you working for yourself if you're that good?
Always.
And I hate that feeling, and I hate hiring people, but you need workers.
Yeah.
So everyone can't be an entrepreneur, because then everyone's going to be like it is in Hong Kong, where you've got a lot of street merchants that would do anything to not work for the man, and then they'll be living in poverty.
Yeah.
Because not everyone can be a scale-up entrepreneur.
Yes.
And I'm not saying I am, I'm not saying I'm not, but I'm giving it a bloody good go.
Mate, you're a lot closer than a lot of people.
No way. But what I would say to people that are thinking about entrepreneurship is have a master plan. There's no flaw in the master plan.
Okay.
On the way, what that means is on the way to that, you have little plans to get to the master plan that all build up, and there'll be flaws in there.
Okay.
But if you've got an end goal of what you want, there's never going to be a flaw.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think, if you're thinking, right, I'm going to go and do something, I'm going to go and hustle, stop listening to people like Gary Vaynerchuk. Start listening to people that really try and say it's only about working hard. Of course, working hard is a massive factor, but
it goes
you've got to think about your sleep. You've got to think about time off. You've got to think about your family, and I've made these mistakes myself, and I've made a lot of big changes in my life to actually focus on other things outside grinding to the bone.
Of course.
But do you? If you are going into entrepreneurship because of all these outside sources telling you to do it,
well, people are feeling guilty about not being their own boss,
and that's bullshit. You should stop doing that. People should stop doing that, because if you've got to start with why. I read a great book called Ideas That Fly, and this has kind of changed my mindset about product creation. Is if you haven't got a real solid why, then don't do it. If you just want to be an entrepreneur because of all these different things on social media telling you to do it, don't. But if you have a real reason of why you want to do it, whether it be you have a compelling product that is going to change the world in one little way, or
make
change
the
an
world
industry,
a better place.
Exactly. Or if you want to do it for a lifestyle business, if you want to do it because you want more time off, or if you not more time
more
for your
independence, freedom to make your own decisions. These are things that people, I would say, misinterpret, because you know the misinterpretation is I become an entrepreneur, I suddenly get all my time back, but now you've also got the responsibility of distributing that time effectively, which you may not have ever done in your whole life before. So now we're talking about the discipline of getting your ass out of bed when you actually don't have to, which is a skill. It's a tough skill to have. You just touched on there, balancing it with family, balancing it with an actual life away from the business. You obviously sound very, very busy, and you do keep yourself very busy. However, there does seem to be a balance that you've been trying to manage quite well. How do you go about doing that? Do you just schedule out certain time for not working on Mercarto or working on your own stuff? What do you do?
Well, my approach to working on Mccarter isn't work, it's what I do to enjoy things. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're not enjoying what you're doing, then stop.
Exactly.
But what what
about when you're sitting there on holiday, the missus is sunbathing, I had this experience, I'm on my laptop working, but as you just said, that is what I love to do. So I'm enjoying myself double time, because I'm working, in the sun, next to a pool, beers on the side. I know you're saying that you enjoy it, but could somebody interpret that as this guy's a workaholic? He's always working, even though he loves it.
When I was building this, I was working at Social Chain during the day, working on Mercarto at night. It was 22-hour days, for sure. And I wasn't even sleeping the 2 hours off. It really killed me.
What were you doing?
I went through a lot of life. I was stressing. I went through a lot of went through a lot of kind of anxiety, and I had to really kind of have a look at
I remember as a tough
mental health,
time,
kind of keep it in check, and started yoga and things like that. But this is where the importance of a supportive partner comes in.
Right.
And you kind of forget that when you're just focusing on work, on your one product. But having my girlfriend has been really strong for me, and it's supportive in the way of taking my mind away from work. So whether it be walks or hikes, or which is the same thing, or going on like mini breaks.
Well, you obviously enjoy walks and hikes. What's wrong with that, bro?
And like doing things like going out for meals, spending time, like having like small rules like no phones at the table, and which is the partner she's putting all this.
She's dictating that.
Yeah,
that's good.
And I need that.
Yeah.
And that's why I hear a lot of people say you've got like entrepreneurship is lonely, and I would say it is lonely in terms of it's only you going through these problems with your product. But it doesn't need to be in like in its entirety with your whole life.
Yeah.
I come home and my girlfriend's there, says, "Come on, what are we doing now? Let's take you out of this mindset. Maybe we'll go and see family and I'll have my laptop with me." That's kind of what we were talking before this podcast. It's my personal brand's with my laptop under my arm the whole time, but it's my pacifier.
With the marketed stuff, or remember that post up on that? The cliche marketer.
Exactly, and it's just having that distraction, and you need that. You really do need that, and it's and if you haven't got a partner, I'm not saying go out and try and like bag yourself a girl or a guy like straight away.
Support group.
But your friends, you always allow time for friends, always allow time for family, and never say no to things. No, because I've got to work. Why? Work doesn't stop, so why do you have to work right now? Okay, if you've got a product launch in 2 hours, fine. But if you haven't, like, why aren't you going to go see Mumsy? Why aren't you going to do something? Go to the pub with guys. I don't drink a lot, and I don't drink it at all really, but still. Why not go and spend some time at the pub with the boys?
Yeah,
why not book a weekend away with the guys or with the missus? And I think it's important. So that's why.
Well, because you know, there's alternative views on this, but like you said, you can have that balance as long as you're enjoying both your home life and your work life, because your work doesn't seem like work, and it's a common trend. Everybody who's doing, their own business, their own, enterprise. It's a common theme that keeps coming up, that nobody's unhappy doing this, as opposed to what are the alternatives. I have to go back to working on someone else's vision, or I have to be, because everyone hasn't got this flexibility that you're obviously giving to your, community of employees, which is come in when you need to come in when you want to come in. People have to be at certain places at 9 o'clock in the morning. 2 of those, there's disciplinaries, it's school all over again. I went through the recruitment game, that's why I couldn't last longer than 3 months. I thought, forget this, and it pushed me to do what I had to do. Sacrifices then. So it sounds like you're not sacrificing a lot right now because you know that you're going to have to work. But what are some of the sacrifices, if any? Obviously, you mentioned sleep that you've had to go through. What are some of the challenges you've had to go through? Look, it all seems so fucking rosy and dandy right now. And I'm hoping it is, and I know it kind of is. But what are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome throughout all? It doesn't have to be business related, man.
Well, okay, so I was, while working for Social Chain, I was on a pitch for one of the biggest companies in the UK. Down in London, it was a big deal. I was delivering this. And this is before I was on board with Lawrence. This is when I was bootstrapping, so the $4,000 of my money that I put into it. And the hard work, the hours and hours at night. When I was on this pitch, my phone was buzzing like crazy. And I was delivering this pitch, big screen on the wall, table, I've got the CMO, I've got the CEO, and then I've got our account director who's like leading the account, but I was going through the strategy. My business said, sorry, 1 second, I looked at my phone.
Mid-pitch?
Mid-pitch.
So it was obviously going off your phone?
It wouldn't stop.
Oh my god.
So it looked, and one big message saying, your server's corrupted, at the top.
Your server's corrupted?
Yeah, this was not UK Fast, this is another company which I don't think they're trading anymore. So the data on the server got corrupted. And I was paying pretty good money for this server, and which included a backup. But they weren't backing up all the data. The developers in India were and this is a big problem. This is 2 problems. The developers in India should have been developing it locally, and then uploading it and pushing it every now and then. They're doing it live. Because we weren't, the server was a dev environment, a development environment. So they're doing it live on the server. The server corrupted, and that was £4,000 worth of code that had gone. Completely gone. So the only code that was left was the code I wrote to start it off. And I was in this pitch, blood dropped out of my face. I was sorry. 1 second, I've just And I was mid talking before I looked at my phone.
Shit.
And then I said sorry.
Yeah.
And then I remembered, shit, I'm in a pitch.
Oh, that's so good. I thought you just lost your head right now.
Yeah.
I was like, get this guy some tea.
And so then I had to kind of regather my thoughts and then go through this pitch. It's a £600,000 pitch.
Sugar.
And yeah,
light work.
we landed it.
Oh.
We landed it. But then I went outside and the train wasn't until like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
I said to the rest of the pitch team, I'm not taking that train, I need to work on this. So I got my laptop, gone to this rooftop bar. It was on Oxford Street, so like they're hitting away trying to resolve it, and have lawyers on the phone like, what do I do to like get this company completely like to get my money back from this company that they've lost me.
Okay.
And that was
drama.
Couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Didn't do that. Nothing worked that way. So
that was one of the hiccups in the journey.
I was going to turn the company off.
Yeah.
I'd met Lawrence at this point, so I knew it was in the pipeline, but I was dead in the water. So what I did is for the next 7 days, I went onto YouTube and typed in motivational videos. Yeah. And every day I watched motivational videos.
So that's what
I can't even tell you. I don't even know.
Oh right, shit.
It was just like went through every single one at the top of the list that came up.
Yeah.
You know what?
Eric Thomas.
If you want to if you want to succeed as much as you need to prove
Eric Thomas.
Was I saying?
Eric Thomas. Yeah.
And I was depressed for about a week, and that pulled me through. And I was like, you know what?
Fuck it.
Call up the Indian guy, Skype call, says, we're going again, boys.
Shit.
Rebuild.
Let's get it on.
Here's £4,000, let's go. So I put my last, I was down to no money.
Yeah.
So it was actually my paycheck from that month from Social Chain. I was like, take it all, let's go. Let's rebuild. I ate rice, and Mrs. ate rice and chicken for like, not even chicken, like rice.
Yeah, rice.
For about a month until we got paid again, and we rebuilt.
Amazing.
And it had loads of holes, but it was
so persevere. So you persevere.
Perseverance, and that's so going back to your question, I think that the biggest downs, the biggest problems, it hasn't always been rosy. And the best thing is, I know that's light work compared to the problems I'm going to hit in the future. Which I don't know what they are yet, but they're going to
challenges, and the challenges are there to make us better.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And if you believe in something as much as I believe in this, or much as you believe in your work, why would you give up? Why? It's like financial, fine. Like okay, if you physically can't take it anywhere further, but always one step forward is more than standing still, right? So just do something.
One last one, and we're going to call it a wrap. Because I want to save something. And bro, it's going to be a dream to have you on in the next 6-12 months to see where things have gone. Give us, so obviously we've got the relaunch coming up, right? Yeah. Give us some of the main targets that you've got set for yourself and Mercarto. If somebody's out there, they're thinking about taking some inspiration from your vision for this. What are some of the targets? How many users are you trying to grab in the next year, if you like, after launch? How much revenue? Do you have revenue goals that you can share with us? Completely up to you. Or give us a range, 1 or 100 mil.
So but business goals for Mccarter are main thing is to get users. I want to see that people value it as much as I think people can value it, as much as Mccarter thinks people will value it.
How many users?
So if we're looking at users, probably by December I want to be aiming for 10,000 users. Daily active users, sign-ups and stores created beyond that might be closer to 30,000. But then we'll be launching a premium version of it. It's all free at the moment. So we'll be launching a premium version of it in about 3-4 months. And then I want to monetize around about 1,000 users to be paying the basic, which is the minimum basic, which is $29.99 per month. And then so obviously the revenue goals are to that is 29,000 per month, which is very small, very humble beginnings, but then we aim to hockey stick from then on to take it to 10,000 to 100,000 paid users, because the software base has been done now. Okay, so it's ready. It's just to scale with users and.
Okay, nice. All right, listen. Thank you so much for coming down. Listen, things you can take. I mean, look, all these notes. There's so much value in what we've just got through. We're talking about influencer marketing. We're talking about we've got a 5-step formula right there for building out your own platform. MVP, get your wireframes done, get them designed, get them to the developers, test them with your friends and family and anybody who's willing to take a look. We've got sacrifices, we've got challenges, we've got mentorship, and how important, you know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see, you know, this guy's leveraged people who know not necessarily more, in some cases probably but different perspectives that they can take and use and add massive value to your business without you being so short-sighted and immature to think, just give me all the money and I know what I'm doing. That humility has probably got you to where you wanted to be 10, 15, 20 times faster than you having to do it all on your own, right? Amazing show, brother. Like, I always learn so much, and like I said, you know, on my Instagram story yesterday, I'm fucking loving it right now, bro, because I get to come in, I wouldn't even call it work, I just turn up to places, sit here, get to pick your brains on everything that we normally have behind closed doors and share it with everybody on this show. And I hope, you know, for the life of me, that something in this, you know, this Real Talk episode has hit home with you, that's giving you some inspiration to go forwards with whatever it is that you want to do. It doesn't have to be business. Maybe it's with a relationship and finding yourself that supportive partner who can balance you out with your career, whatever it is, right? So look, again, brother, I want to thank you again. Anything you want to say just before you go?
No, just massively appreciate that you having me on here. I think what you're doing, especially in the mentorship game as well, and the consultancy game, is just unreal. You're one of the best I know. This is why, even to my business partner, I wanted to put you forward, because you are, and I worked at Social Chain, the best agency in the UK, but when working with you, you know what you're doing when it comes to targeting people and customers. So I just want to say it's a pleasure.
Bro, I'm humbled, and you know, honestly, that's given me, in the past, you know, knowing that I've got people like you advising me as we're going through this journey together. Remember, you know, 4 years ago, me and this guy were standing there in a flat in East London, in the hood.
Shared flat.
So we've got strangers in other rooms, not the same one. I've got my own Strangerville going on. He's got his strangers in his flat. We've both got our partners with us, supporting us, thinking to themselves, shit, I hope this comes good. And literally from there, it's literally been like we're both at the back of a boot, you know, whatever that is, you know, slingshot. I'm just gone straight up. So again, man, look, thank you for tuning in. Do you agree? Give me a comment somewhere around this video. Is everything that Sean said in line with what you think? Do you challenge him on some things? Should you go for investment so soon, or should you go looking for a partner? Or are you the big daddy boss man gorilla yourself and you got to do it your way? Tell me what's in it for you. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take care.